Go Navy!
USS Suribachi. OC, thank you for the introduction. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My dad was in World War II. He was stationed at Glencoe Naval Air Station in Brunswick, Georgia. My mother was a civil service worker that worked on the blimps with the carburetors on them that flew the East Coast looking for the German submarines. I was born in 1944 in Brunswick, Georgia. My dad got out of the Navy in first of 45, and we moved to Savannah here, and I've been here all my life, other than a couple of 6 months down at Flexi, where Flexi is now. I went to Massey Street School, Richard Arnold, and Savannah High School. 1961, I got out of school. My dad come knocked on my door. He said, "Son, what's your plans?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "You got 2 weeks to find you a job or get out of my house." So I said, "Can you give me a little bit of time, Dad?" He said, "Yeah." So I went off and found me a little job. And meantime, while I was gone, I went over on Wheaton Street, where it used to be the Navy Reserve and the Marine Corps Reserve, over at, I think it's 537 Wheaton Street. I joined the United States Navy Reserve. I come back home and I said, "Dad, can I stay to August the 24th? He said, "Why that?" I said, "I'm going in the military," and I ain't looked back since then. So, you know, people's not brought up like that nowadays, you know. I spent a little over 3 years on the USS Suribachi, the hat that I had, ammunition auxiliary. 17 years old, they sent me to Cuba for the Cuban crisis. Us and the Shasta, which is AE-19, was the two ships that serviced the Sixth Fleet for all the ammunition, all the nuclear weapons, the Talos, TAR, the bullpup, and Sidewinder missiles that we had back then. Came back in 64. All of my buddies were in the Army Reserve, so I got the Navy to let me move over to the Army Reserves. And I was telling somebody earlier that was in the Army, I said, the branch I was in was Troop D, 748th Air Cavalry. And all y'all know what Air Cavalry is. You got something that flew. Not a damn thing that flew. We had a deuce and a half and water buffalo and a couple other things. But I finished up my career in the Army Reserves. Drove a truck for a while. Was a mechanic. Worked right up here on Abercorn and Windsor Road at McGowan Service Station. 1974, they said the sheriff's office is hiring. So maybe in I was 28 then, I think. I went down. Mr. Luke Sims was a jailer then. I don't know if anybody knows him. Carl Griffin was the sheriff. So I went in to see Luke and asked him about a job. And I had hair as long as this lady right here down on my shoulders with a big old Fu Man mustache, you know. And I walked in and Carl said, "I know you, son." I said, "Yes, sir. I played baseball with your son, little Lukey." He said, "What do you want?" I said, "I need a job." He said, "I can't tell you, but if you got a haircut and a shave, you might get one." So I left and went to Jimmy Tagliola's barbershop. Never forget him. I was in the Army Reserves with his son, Mike. I said, "Mr. Jimmy, I want a haircut." He said, "You know I don't cut hippies' hair." I said, "You got to understand, Mr. Jimmy, I want to look like you. That's the way I look today. That's why I got it all cut." I went back to see Mr. Sims, and he said, "Can I help you, son?" I said, "I got the haircut and the shave." He said, "Report to work in the morning at 6:30. Never looked back. I spent 40 years there, worked in every aspect of the sheriff's office I could work in. As OC said, I tired as a colonel over the jail. My passion is that jail. You know, today we had 1,286 people in that jail. I can house 2,433. I'm 203 officers short today. I'm paying lieutenants, sergeants, corporals, private, and corrections officers time and a half. I got lieutenants making $70 an hour. I got to have them. I'm working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day myself. One of the things you'll find on the table there, you have a thing called inmate transition section. These are a lot of the programs that we provide for the inmates. And before you get to looking, it doesn't cost you the taxpayers a dime. If you've been looking at the paper lately about the phone bill, the phone money that is collected on the phones, these people are having a tizzy about it. All that money we collect goes back in what is known as an inmate welfare fund. Only thing you can spend that money on is that inmate. You can't buy cars, you can't buy salaries, you can't buy guns. You have to furnish that. And if you look at all the programs we have a little over 16 programs. And all of them, if they complete the programs, get a certificate. And our biggest thing that we got going now is the Project New Hope with dogs. We get dogs who they want to put to sleep and everything, and we'll bring them in and raise them, get them taught right, get them to mind and everything. They live with the inmate 24 hours a day and take care of them. We've got about a 99.9% adoption rate. It's a super program, and the biggest thing we want to do is love those animals. A lot of people don't care about them, but we care about them. And we make things happen with those programs. And not only that program, but we have a GED program. If for instance, OC came into jail and he was there 8 or 9 months and needed his GED, we provide that for him. It's free.
Can we send him now?
We send him now. But if he gets out of jail before he finishes, he can go to Savannah Votech and finish it free because we contract with them. All those services are paid by the inmates. On the phone services we get, the video visitation we get, the commissary they get. So all of that's not paid by the taxpayers, it's paid by the inmates. One of the things that we always say about them, we want them to go, if they come in my jail, we want them to go out better than they came in there. Today I'm seeing the 5th generation. I'm seeing the father, his son, his son's son, his son's son's son, and then his son's 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 son over in juvenile waiting to come to jail. 5th generation in my 47 years. And it's terrible. And the basic thing that I say, and I don't care if anybody quotes me, you got to do how I was brought up. You got to go to church, you got to have 2 parents, you got to teach them right and wrong. If they get out of line, put something on their backside. That's what my mom and daddy did. My dad died at 77 in hospice, and I went to see him. I said, Dad, I missed a couple of whippings in my life. He said, no hell you didn't, son. I said, what do you mean? He said, you're running that jail, you ain't in it. I never forgot that, So, we have to get back to the basics of life, to bring these kids up. You're not entitled to anything, you have to earn stuff. You have to get out and make it for yourself, not to depend on somebody to give. So, it's a big undertaking there. Like I said, it's a 24-hour day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Also, I have 16 judges that sit on the bench. I have 6 Superior Court judge, 3 state court, 3 magistrate, 1 probate judge, and now 4 juvenile judges. And we have to run those courts. We serve about 14,000 civil and criminal processes a year. About 14,000 comes in the back door of my jail every year. Back when we was up to 1,908 back in 2017, we were taking anywhere from 17 to 20 in there, 1,000 a year. Contracts. Light bill. Anybody have an idea what it costs me for my lights a year? About $1,200,000. The light bill is $100,000 a month. Medical contract, $10.5 million. And I was talking to these gentlemen here a while ago. Most of the people that come into jail sick. I have over 350 people in my jail on psychotropic drugs or some kind of mental health drugs. And I'm not at a mental health hospital. And I told the city and the county commissioners when I was coming, I'm not a mental health hospital, I'm not a homeless shelter. So you need to do something with them. They ain't done nothing with them yet. So, and we've got to do something. Yet we can give these foreign countries $8 million, but we can't take care of vets, number one, and that pisses me off because I'm a vet. I even put a program in when I come to the jail to be a veterans program. So if they come into jail after 30 days, they lose all their benefits. So we teach them how to go back outside and get their benefits. Film Medicaid, Medicare, after 30 days, they lose that. So we have programs to teach them how to regain when they get out so they can be a productive person in the community instead of somebody that keeps coming in the back door all the time. I had one gentleman, I can't think of his name, he'd been in my jail 187 times. And he's a mental health person. He's a gentleman about my size, a black gentleman about my size. He's on, WIC, all these different things, Medicaid, Medicare, and his family would buy him enough medication for about 10 days. And then after that, he'd be walking down the road, and the police officer would tell him to get out of the road. Well, he's mental health. He don't know. He telling me he ain't doing it. They bring him to jail. Or he'd go in a store. He was hungry. He opened a bag of tater chips. They charge him with shoplifting. When he walked in the back door, Alonzo Williams is his name. Walk in the back door, he wanted 3 things. 2 sandwiches and a milk. He didn't have no problems out of it. So they got a place to eat, place to sleep, place to take a shower, place they can watch TV and everything else. So, it's just an ongoing thing that we, in our society, I don't know that we'll ever comprehend or get a hold on it, but we got to try, because the jail's not any place for homeless people, whether you're a vet or not a vet, and it's not a place for a mental health person. I got people in there that belong in it. People don't never need to see the light of day, but you got people in there that's just made terrible mistakes, So again, we run, I call it a city within a city, 775,000 square feet of living space. That's 3/4 of a mile. And we run it 24/7, 365. If it's raining outside, we still run it. If it's hot outside, we still run it. So again, that's basically something for y'all to hear or understand, but we here to serve and protect the people of this county. I love this county. Like I said, I grew up after I got here after my dad got out of World War II. I left 3 years to go in the military, and other than that, I have never left here, and I don't intend leaving here. I've lived in my house on Montgomery Crossroad for 57 years. My mom passed away in Windsor Forest. She lived there 67 years. We're here to stay. We love all the vets. I do. My dad was a vet. All my mother's side of the family, from her baby sister all the way up to the oldest one, were in the military. The only one in the military, my dad, was him. His 11 brothers and sisters wasn't. They were farmers. So again, I'm here for the community. I love this community. I want this community to strive and to move forward and do the right things, and we got to get the right things to make people understand that we love this community.